Okay, so we are going to do simulations and randomness, but first I'd like you to go ahead and write some of these things down. These are just some helpful things that don't really fit on the other pages, but remember the W's. This is also if it asks for the context. The context is who, what, when, where, why, how. Remember these two are required. And whenever you list the what, make sure you remember you say that if it's quantitative, you say the units, and you say categorical. Categorical, there's no units, but quantitative does have units. So remember to do those two things. S squared is variance, and variance is just the number you get before you get the standard deviation. It's the number squared. When you take the square root, that's where you get standard deviation. Remember, Z usually stands for Z-score. Anything with a hat above, or not a hat, but a line on it is the mean. Anything with a hat is usually the predicted. And then R is correlation. EX is the expected value. And then the mu is the mean. So pause the video and make sure you write all that down. Okay, now we're going to go to simulations and randomness. So if you open up this tab. So there's a really good chance they've kind of backed away from simulations. Like you could have problems on it, but I don't think they're going to have you show a simulation, which is a bummer because I love simulations. But remember, these are the steps that you have to follow, because you have to, if they do have one, they have to explain it clearly so anybody could follow it. So remember, here are the 4 steps. So the first thing you need to do is you need to identify the components. So 0 to 15 represents something, 16 to 32 represents something, and then 33 through 99 represents something else. You need to define the trial, which is what do you do with repeats? What are you going to ignore? When do you stop? You also need to say what type of numbers. So you're taking random 1 digit, random 2 digit. You need to define the response variable, and the response variable is what are you looking for? Are you looking for the number of times you got a heads? Are you looking for the whether or not you got a heads? So you're either counting or you're looking for a yes or no answer. So there's options because you're either looking for categorical data or quantitative data. And then you need to identify what statistic you're going to use. And so usually that's going to be whether it's a count, a percent, or a rate, or an average. Okay? And so again, you're either going to find quantitative data, like how many boxes of cereal it took to get somebody, or how many times did you get everybody in those 5 boxes? Remember those problems a while ago? Okay, so when using a random digit table, clearly label what each number represents. I don't think you're going to have one of these, but just in case you do. So if I have the number 32, I can underline it and I can put a B above it for if it stands for whatever's in B. Okay. And then when running a simulation with your calculator, write and show the example, the results from each trial. So if your calculator spits out a 3, you write a 3 and what that stands for. If it spits out a 72, you write 72 and what that was. Okay. All right, and then remember for our summary, it's the simulation suggests or according to the simulation, and then you include what the average is. And then if the average is 7, but then I had a max of 18, I'm going to include the max. So if your max and min are far away from your average, I would include it. And you need to make sure you include the context.